In the world of secrets, truth is the first casualty, and power is the prize. This is the untold story of the CIA. From whispered backroom deals to coups that toppled nations, from Cold War chess games to modern-day drone warfare, the Central Intelligence Agency has shaped global history in ways few truly understand. Born in secrecy, funded by invisible budgets, and operating with almost no oversight, the CIA became America's most powerful weapon, and its greatest liability. This is a journey through the hidden corridors of power, where espionage, deception, and manipulation rewrote the fate of nations. The story you are about to hear is not just about spies and secrets, it is about how an intelligence agency grew into something resembling a shadow government. The truth has been buried. Until now. The year is 1947. The world is still reeling from the ashes of World War II. Europe lies in ruins, and a new menace emerges: Soviet communism. In Washington, President Harry Truman signs the National Security Act, creating a new intelligence agency, the CIA. Its mission is simple on paper: collect and analyze foreign intelligence. But from the very beginning, the CIA was built for far more than observation. It was designed for action. Unlike its predecessor, the OSS, the CIA was granted vast powers: the ability to conduct covert operations, sabotage, propaganda, and psychological warfare, all under the veil of secrecy. Funded by secret budgets, accountable only to the president, the CIA quickly became a government within the government. But power loves shadows. And the CIA would soon discover just how much could be achieved when the world wasn't watching. The early 1950s marked the CIA's coming of age. In 1953, in Iran, the agency engineered its first major coup. Prime Minister Mohammad Mossadegh dared to nationalize Iran's oil industry, challenging Western control. For the CIA, this was unacceptable. Operation Arjux was launched. Bribes were handed out. Mobs were organized. Propaganda filled the streets. Within weeks, Mossadegh was overthrown, and the Shah, a US ally, was restored to power. The CIA had discovered its true strength, not gathering information, but shaping history. A year later, in Guatemala, the agency toppled President Jacobo Arbenz, who threatened to redistribute land owned by the American fruit giant, United Fruit Company. Through psychological warfare, false radio broadcasts, and the orchestration of a fake army, Arbenz was forced to resign. The message was clear: the CIA could topple governments without a single American soldier setting foot on the battlefield. But with each victory came arrogance. And arrogance would breed disaster. Operation Celestial Balance. 2 years earlier, in 1998, the US Embassy in Nairobi, Kenya, had been reduced to rubble by a massive truck bomb. Over 200 people were killed, including 12 Americans. Another nearly simultaneous bombing struck the US Embassy in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. The twin bombings marked Al-Qaeda's emergence onto the world stage. For the CIA, the mission was personal. The Nairobi bombing was carried out by operatives trained directly under Osama bin Laden. The agency codenamed its hunt Operation Celestial Balance. The target, Fazl Abdullah Mohammed, a Kenyan national and one of Al-Qaeda's most dangerous operatives. Fazl was a master of disguise, fluent in multiple languages, and capable of blending seamlessly into African societies. He had blood on his hands, and the CIA wanted him eliminated. But hunting him in East Africa was a nightmare. The agency had to build a network across Kenya, Somalia, and the Comoros Islands, regions rife with corruption, militias, and weak governments. CIA operatives disguised themselves as businessmen, aid workers, even journalists. They met sources in dark alleys and rundown safe houses. Every handshake could be a trap. The mission was so perilous that even regional allies were wary. At times, Kenyan intelligence leaked operations to Fazl supporters, forcing the CIA to rely on its own clandestine units. Years of cat and mouse followed. The danger was relentless. Several CIA informants were tortured or killed by Al-Qaeda. Yet slowly, piece by piece, the agency closed in. Perhaps the most disturbing chapter of CIA history came in the 1950s and 60s with Project MKUltra. The goal was chilling, develop techniques for mind control, interrogation, and psychological manipulation. Funded with secret money, CIA scientists dosed unwitting subjects with LSD, subjected prisoners to torture, and experimented on hospital patients without consent. Entire lives were destroyed, all in the name of national security. The program remained hidden for decades until it was exposed in the 1970s, shocking the American public. But by then, most of the documents had already been destroyed. What we know is only a fragment. What remains hidden is anyone's guess. MKUltra revealed something terrifying, not just what the CIA could do, but what it was willing to do. In pursuit of power, morality was optional. No relationship better illustrates the CIA's audacity than its obsession with Cuba. When Fidel Castro came to power in 1959, the CIA launched one of its most infamous failures, the Bay of Pigs invasion. Underestimating Castro's forces, the agency armed and trained Cuban exiles to overthrow him. The invasion collapsed within days, humiliating the United States and strengthening Castro's grip. But failure did not end the obsession. Over the next decade, the CIA tried to assassinate Castro more than 600 times, using exploding cigars, poison pens, and even contaminated diving suits. None succeeded. And the repeated failures revealed the agency's reckless side, an intelligence service willing to gamble America's reputation on schemes that seemed more like satire than strategy. In Southeast Asia, the CIA's influence reached terrifying new heights. While American troops fought openly in Vietnam, the agency waged a parallel war in the shadows. Operation Phoenix, a program to dismantle the Viet Cong infrastructure, resulted in the capture, torture, and assassination of tens of thousands. Critics called it state-sanctioned murder. Meanwhile, in neighboring Laos, the CIA built a secret army of Hmong tribesmen, running one of the largest covert wars in history. Entire villages were bombed. The land was scarred. And yet, few Americans even knew the war in Laos existed. For the CIA, the battlefield had no borders. If secrecy permitted, war could be waged anywhere. By the 1970s, the CIA's dark legacy began to surface. Revelations of assassinations, coups, and domestic surveillance shocked the American public. The Watergate scandal exposed connections between the CIA and President Nixon's operatives. Soon after, congressional investigations, led by Senator Frank Church, peeled back the agency's secrets. The Church Committee revealed plots to assassinate foreign leaders, illegal spying on American citizens, and the grotesque horrors of MKUltra. For the first time, the CIA's unchecked power faced real scrutiny. But reform was temporary. Because the Cold War was far from over. By the 1970s, the CIA's dark legacy began to surface. Revelations of assassinations, coups, and domestic surveillance shocked the American public. The Watergate scandal exposed connections between the CIA and President Nixon's operatives. Soon after, congressional investigations, led by Senator Frank Church, peeled back the agency's secrets. The Church Committee revealed plots to assassinate foreign leaders, illegal spying on American citizens, and the grotesque horrors of MKUltra. For the first time, the CIA's unchecked power faced real scrutiny. But reform was temporary. Because the Cold War was far from over. In the 1980s, the CIA found a new battleground, Afghanistan. When the Soviet Union invaded, the agency armed and trained Afghan fighters, the Mujahideen. Billions of dollars in weapons, including Stinger missiles, poured into the region. It was hailed as a success. The Soviets were bled dry, humiliated, and eventually forced to withdraw. The CIA had struck a decisive blow in the Cold War. But history has a cruel sense of irony. Because among the fighters America armed were extremists who would later form the backbone of Al-Qaeda. The same weapons the CIA once supplied would one day be turned against America. September 11, 2001. 19 hijackers, armed with box cutters, brought America to its knees. Nearly 3,000 lives lost. The CIA, criticized for failing to prevent the attacks, quickly became the spearhead of America's war on terror. The agency gained unprecedented powers, expanded budgets, secret prisons, and a global license to kill. drones became the new weapon of choice, striking suspected terrorists in Yemen, Pakistan, and Somalia. But the war on terror also revealed the CIA's darkest side yet, its use of torture. In the aftermath of 9/11, the CIA built a network of secret prisons, black sites, scattered across Europe, the Middle East, and Asia. Here, prisoners were subjected to enhanced interrogation techniques, waterboarding, sleep deprivation, stress positions, and psychological torment. The CIA insisted these methods were necessary to save lives. Critics called it torture. Which was done. America's reputation as a defender of human rights was shattered by the very agency meant to protect it. Today, the CIA remains one of the most secretive organizations on Earth. Its budget, over $15 billion, is hidden within the defense spending. Its operations, spanning the globe, are rarely acknowledged. From cyber espionage to countering China and Russia, from drone strikes to proxy wars, the CIA continues to shape the modern world from the shadows. But one question remains: who watches the watchers? The CIA was born in secrecy. It thrived in secrecy. And even now, it survives in secrecy. It has toppled governments, armed rebels, assassinated leaders, and experimented on its own citizens. It has protected America and endangered it. It has won wars and created It is something far more dangerous, a tool of immense power, wielded in darkness. And as long as secrecy is its shield, the story of the CIA will never truly end. Because in the world of secrets, truth is fragile, and power is eternal.